The Roads and Helens were the Regal Trophy competition, a new competition in as much as the trophy is concerned. It used to be the John Player Special Trophy. It's a new trophy now by Imperial Tobacco, and the Saints are here in the televised match entertaining Hull KR. Today's match day mascot is Ricky Jackson Wyatt. Big day for this young lad. Ricky is out the centre field, limbering up with the team. He's 6 years of age, he's Ricky. He attends St Philip's School, Westbrook in Warrington. He's the great nephew of the ex-Saints second rower loose forward Walter Delves. And a big day for him there, out there centre field. It's a bitterly cold day here at Nosey Road, and at present a poor crowd. It's a pity for such a good game. Well, it's going to be a good game, isn't it? Saints at the top of the first division, Hull KR at the top of the second division, I think about third in the Stones Bitter table. But centre fielder is today's match day mascot Ricky Jackson Wyatt, with the two captains Phil Beavers and Mike Smith. Anyway, I'll just go through the teams for you now. Saints number 1 Connolly, 2 Tanner, 3 Kay, 4 Loughlin, 5 Hunt, 6 Bailey, 7 Holding, 8 Farber, 9 Groves, 10 Cosgrove, 11 Jones, 12 Haggerty, 13 Beavers, with 14 Mark Lee, 15 David Lever. Hull KR 1 Lightfoot, 2 Clark, 3 Fletcher, 4 Austin, 5 Sullivan, 6 Irvin, 7 Bishop, 8 Armstrong, 9 Rudd, 10 Niebling, 11 Bottiker, 12 Thompson, 13 Smith, with 14 Parker and 15 Lyman. Today's match day official, Mr. Colin Morris from Huddersfield, just ready to kick off. Set to kick off, playing down to the sponsors' boxes, the clubhouse end for the first half, and away we go. Paul Loughlin kicks it deep. Rovers in possession on the main stand side in their own 25. Forward power, that's going to be the name of the game for the first 10 minutes or so. Hopefully softening the opposition up. Brian Nabling there, laying the ball on. Looked like Chris Rudd taking it, but he has his collar felt. Well, David Cosgrove there, he's got number... Oh no, I beg your pardon, I thought he got 11 on his back, but it's 10. Gary Conley gets the ball and Hull KR kick it upfield. Conley, the scorer of that spectacular try at Featherstone last Sunday. A tremendous 80-yard movement. 4 and 5 players involved, but Alan Hunt takes the ball, but he's forced back into his own 25 by some solid Hull KR tackling. Cosgrove taking up the running. His right knee heavily strapped there, and Saints are struggling for a team. But the ball back to Neil Holding, positional kicking, but it's Anthony Sullivan. It's the son of ex-Hull and Hull KR favourite Clive Sullivan, MBE. Well tackled just short of the halfway line. So it's Rovers back in possession. David Bishop, this ex-Welsh rugby union player, once linked with Saints, but through having an injury, a neck injury, it was decided not to sign him. But an outrageous forward pass there from Brian Niebling, going unnoticed by referee Morris. Road at dummy half. Rovers moving it to the right. Standoff James Irvin, but he's forced back. Solid 3-man tackling from the Saints. Brian Niebling, well, he stood no support with him, didn't know what to do, but Groves quickly in, one of the tacklers with Paul Farber, back after a neck injury, was in hospital for a couple of days, but the ball back for the kick upfield on the 6th tackle. David Tanner, no problem, takes it comfortably. Mark Bailey attacked in half-back. Saints just regrouping. Paul Jones comes through on the diagonal run. But solid tackling again there. Tony Bottiker, this New Zealand player there, goes in very quickly. 3 tackles there, and Saints not been able to make any yardage at all. Neil Holding, inside ball to Roy Haggerty. Explosive Pac-Man Haggerty. Anything can happen when Roy's got the ball in his hands. But the ball back to Loughlin. Kick downfield. Well, Saints player on the far side there, taking off the ball in an incident, but none of the officials has seen anything. Looks like Paul Loughlin to me, he's riding in agony. No, it's Neil Holding, I beg your pardon. But it's David Bishop, centre field. And Phil Beaver's taking a knock. But it's Rudd, that's acting half-back for the Rovers. Right to Niebling. Well, Saints penalised there for not lining up in a correct manner, as decided by referee Morris. So an early chance for points on the board for Rovers. As you probably know, it's the 19th season of the sponsorship by Imperial Tobacco. It was previously the John Player Special Trophy. Saints just winning it that once when they beat Leeds at Central Park, Wigan. 15 points to 14. But Phil Beaver's taking a knock and he still looks a bit groggy there. Taking in that incident just a few minutes ago. But just 4 minutes of the game gone. Saints struggling far forwards, and Beaver certainly looks as though he's took a big hit. The Saints physio treating him now. I think referee Morris has stopped the clock. The Hull Kingston Rovers goal kicker is going to he has to wait. Everything's okay now. Beavers is back with his team. He's the captain. He's taken over as the captaincy, or been given the captaincy with the suspension, that outrageous 8-match suspension to Shane Cooper. But it's Mike Fletcher now, see if he can open Rovers' accounts. Well, nowhere near that, is it? Well short. Gary Connolly takes it. Drives up to the 25. OKR on a high, they're third in Division 2, Saints are second in Division 1. And Saints, they did well, they've come through the last couple of games. At Hull and Featherstone, coming from behind. Especially at Featherstone, 23-12 in arrears, and then coming back, showing plenty of character, and coming back with 2 tries in 4 minutes. Just about 4 minutes before the final hooter. Neil Holding now, but it's Rovers putting plenty of pressure on the Saints. Neil Holding kicks downfield. Groves comes in as the wingman on the far side, I think it was Gary Clark, come to pick the ball up. Well, he's lost the ball there. No, scrum down, yes. He let it go, no. Well, Clark is looking at the touches on the far side. He'll get no joy out of him, and he's been duly penalised for his trouble. Obviously for questioning the decision there of the referee. He did lose the ball as he got up. No interference from the Saints player whatsoever. He had a chunner to the touch judge on the far side, and referee Morris duly penalised him. The Saints get play underway, moving it to the right, over here to the popular side. Paul Farber, as I said, had a couple of days in hospital with a trapped nerve in his neck. It's Mark Bailey now, Tommy Frodsham still out. And as I said last week at Featherstone, both playmakers out for the Saints in Shane Cooper and Tommy Frodsham. But Haggerty, he'll take them on, leads by example, powering into the Hull KR defence. Holding now, Farber breaks gives the dummy, breaks through the tackle there. Looking for support on the left, but he's brought down. Solid tackling from KR. Neil Holding, chip and run. Little chip through, Groves is with him. But the full-back gets it, David Lightfoot, but that's what's got to be happening. Neil Holding, he saw the gap, all the Rovers side moving up very quickly. And both Groves and Farber scampering through, but the full-back David Lightfoot got it. And it's Hull back in possession in their own 25. And it's a place where Saints have got to contain them, they've got to keep them back in their own 25. They said probably get 3 or 4 forward charges, then a kick upfield, but Brian Niebling there, no way through for him. Phil Beavers, David Cosgrove, and Beavers looks as though he's fully recovered. Rovers spreading it over here, Greg Austin, this Australian centre. Up to loose forward Mike Smith, and captain Gary Connolly takes it well. Rovers move up very quickly, didn't look as though they give him 5 yards there, did they? But referee Morris On the job, Paul Jones, moving over to the left. Alan Hunt, that's acting half-back. Saints move it inside. David Cosgrove now. 8 minutes gone, no score, just the one chance to Hull KR in about the 4th minute. Well, Groves, he did well to get it out, but Bailey equally well. A bullet pass, but it's Groves again, he's scampering through. As you probably know, this match is on BBC. We've been on the telly quite a bit lately, haven't we, with Rugby League Live, twice on Scrum Down and on the BBC today. But as is the norm, they only give you half a match, but you know you're with BSN and you get all the match here. BSN, the leaders in Rugby League video for the Saints. And we'll give you a full, uninterrupted version of today's match. Now the ball did go back there, as signified by referee Morris. But it's Hull KR still on the charge, looking to break quickly. Looking for support, and it's Rudd, I think, there. Playing very well. He was subjected to a nasty car accident about 18 months ago. It was a bit of touch and go, but he's back in full flight. And Rovers are breaking quickly. They're backing up. They lose the ball in the Saints 25, and David Tanner comes up with the goods. Alan Hunt over here from his left wing, but he loses possession. It's taken up by Tony Sullivan. Loose play there from Alan Hunt. Solid tackling from KR. They shake the ball from his hands and puts KR back on the charge. Looks though he's taken a knock as well, Alan Hunt, in that tackle. But it's KR now on the charge. Niebling spreading it right. Greg Austin moving over there on the far side. Harbour in at the tackle now. Niebling again, he's the linchpin. Onto Bishop, onto this big prop, he's in for a try. Colin Armstrong touches down. Hull KR take the lead. After just 10 minutes play. Well, Hull KR, they finished off there in good style. And there's some pleb on the ground here from KR. He's going to be ejected from the field if he's not careful. But a mistake there in the 25, Saints losing the ball. Rovers spread it over to the main stand side here at Nosey Road. Then it came back in field. Quick hands. Brian Niebling involved and Armstrong finished off. There's the conversion from Mike Fletcher. So 6 points to nil after 10 minutes. Saints are behind. Certainly Alex Murphy will be a little despondent in the dugout there. Loose play in their own 25, losing the ball. And Hull KR capitalised on it and finished off with his big prop. There he is again, Armstrong touching down just to the left of the sticks. So it's KR back in possession. Niebling breaking through very quickly. Irving on the break. Onto Bishop. But it's still loose, it's onto Irving again, and they're in again. Well, 2 tries in the 2 minutes there. Irving goes in for a try. 2 tries for KR in 2 minutes, catching the Saints on the hop. Let's hope they can get back, regroup themselves, the Saints, and hopefully stem this flow. David Bishop and Irving. It was Irving, I think, initially in that play. Onto Bishop, then back to Irving. I thought Bishop had it, but it looked as though as he was going down, he flipped it up. And Irving got it and touched down. Similar position to the Armstrong try. 10 points to nil down after just 11 minutes. And Fletcher again. Fletcher slots it over, so 12 points to nil. Saints in arrears now. OKR last weekend did a tremendous win against Dewsbury. Mind you, Dewsbury are no great shakes, are they? 54 points to 6. I suppose it's a good warm-up for today's fixture. But they was relegated last season as KR with Oldham and Halifax. They're up at the top, and hopefully they're going to be back in the full flight, the first division after the end of this season if they can keep up their the play. They've already moved grounds. from Craven Park to a new ground. A loose ball. Well, what's he given? An offside decision he must have given. It was a forward pass, it was forward a mile, but the Saints come up with it. But the referee, instead of allowing play to go on, he has blown up and awarded Saints a penalty. The Saints are unbeaten since the 1st of October, since the 2-match versus New Zealand, with 7 league wins after that match, so we're looking for the 9th victory on the trot. It's certainly going to be hard today now after going 12 points to nil behind, but we have shown tremendous character in the last few matches, and the only 2 league matches that we have lost against Castleford here at Nosey Road and Bradford at Odsal. We should never have lost them at all. But Paul Loughlin there from that penalty attempt slots it right over. So Saints are back, they're on the board, they're back in the hunt, trailing by 2 points to 12. And 14 minutes of the first half gone. Well, a rather large sprinkling of Hull KR spectators over on the popular side here, as you can probably hear, cheering the team on, leading by 12 points to 2. I'm sure they never brought so many when they was in the first division. Now I can't remember so many coming here to Nosey Road. Well, Rovers kick off. Connolly takes it near his own line. He drives up to the 25. Groves now. Paul Jones. But Hull KR penalised there for not lining up in a correct position at the play of the ball. A similar decision to what he gave earlier against the Saints. As long as he's consistent, that's all we can ask, isn't it? The Saints kick upfield from the added yardage. Saints get it underway. The play stopped midway between the halfway line and the Saints 25. Roy Haggerty now looking to penetrate the Hull KR ranks. Groves again, brings it infield. Farber on a diagonal run. Saints with plenty of players out. There's Andy Bateman, Stuart Evans, Jonathan Griffiths, Tommy Frodsham, Les Quirk, John Harrison. Of course, Shane Cooper suspended. Saints lose the ball in the tackle. Rovers back on the charge. Colin Armstrong. Ryan Niebling sees the gap, drives through it, but Groves is there, brings him down. Paul Jones comes in and Phil Beavers is there. Well, the referee's seen something in the tackle, trying to wrench the ball out of the opposition's hands, but Niebling come up with it, so whether it was released or not I don't know, but eagle-eyed Morris is quickly in there and penalises the Saints. No chance for Fletcher to restore the 12-point lead for Hull KR. On the 25, just slightly to the right of the posts. Strikes it well, right between the sticks, so Hull KR now restore the 12 points lead, leading at present by 14 points to 2. Well, I'm sure he knows the score. 14 points to 2, same as us. Hull KR now receive the ball from the kick-off, just outside their own 25. Niebling, short ball again. Ball back to David Bishop. Straight into touch, is it? Yes, directly into touch. Poor kick from this ex-Welsh Rugby Union. He's got something to prove. He's never been on a winning side against St Helens, as far as I know, since he turned from Union to League. It's a scrum down with the Saints feed, and Hull KR immediately penalised. Differential penalty for packing with the loose arm, or, well, diving into the tackle, you name it. Anything can happen. Paul Loughlin finds touch, 10 yards from the KR line. Saints have got to make it count this time. First time we've been up near the KR line with a chance. Farber inside to Beavers. Right in front of the sticks, Beaver's looking for support. Tattle holds firm. Haggerty, loop movement with Holding. Holding takes it on his... an awkward pass from Holding there. Got a loose ball again, but initial knock on, I think, by the Hull KR man. But Neil Holding, he was going across field. Surely he saw the Hull KR man coming in. He thought about it, but he let it go. It touched the Hull KR man's hands. It went to ground. The initial knock on being penalised by referee Morris. And it's scrum down with the Saints speed. Holding comes up with the ball. But Bishop there penalised for offside at the scrum, coming round exceedingly quickly and flattening Neil Holding before he could get the ball out of the pack. So another penalty for the Saints. So another chance for the Saints. 6 tackles to make it count. Neil Holding, overhead kick, the charge is on. The ball's loose. Well, yes, is it a try to the Saints? Referees, it's a 25-yard drop out, I think. He's coming to the centre of the 25-yard line. Must have been touched down by or gone in touching goal off a Saints player. But Bishop in the action there, right in front of us. Quickly played on the centre of the 25. Full marks for the Saints. Got to try something to penetrate this Rovers defence. Second row forward, Andrew Thompson. Just brought down short of the halfway line. Chris Rudd at dummy half. Taking it to the right. Niebling. Armstrong. 3 solid tackles from the Saints there. Possibly coming back now for the kick-up field, but it's Niebling again. Rovers spreading it quickly. Andrew Smith, but solid tackle there from Loughlin. That man coming through there at full pace. The full-back it was. Lightfoot coming at full pace, but Loughlin had him. Centre now. Greg Austin going cross-field. Must be the 6th tackle, yes. The referee's hands up. 6th and final tackle. Will Rovers run it or will they give the kick-up field? Back to Bishop. Well, that's a high one, that. Oh, Connolly there. My word. That was a tremendous hit. It's a toss-up whether the man was actually in possession of the ball when he was hit. But the referees stopped the clock. Gary Connolly there, he come in very bravely for that ball. It certainly looked as though he was hit before the ball or came to him, or actually at the same time. As far as I know, there's no decision been made against any Hull KR player at present, but Connolly's receiving treatment on the far side there. They certainly come in to give some stick out today of these Rovers side, and they're certainly doing that. They're leading at present by 14 points to 2, and Connolly there, he's going to need a stretcher. As the club doctor comes on. Oh, Gary Connolly's prone on the ground there. Saints lady physio on there, and the club doctor just going on. But a stretcher on the far side. I think St John's ambulance just going to bring the stretcher on. So bitter blow now for the Saints, with Gary Connolly having to be replaced early in this first half. There's going to be some reshuffling in the pack now, isn't there, with Mark Lee having to come on to replace Gary Connolly. Perhaps Beavers will be back to full back, or maybe even Loughlin, I don't know, but Saints struggling for players, for bodies. But a lot of concern over there on the far side, on the 25-yard line, over on the main stand side. Gary Connolly still down, injured. He's taking notice now. He's being treated. Well, that was a tremendous big hit after that, up and under from David Bishop. I don't think the stretch is needed. He's getting to his feet. He's Gary Connolly. By the looks of things, he's probably concussed. I'm quite sure he won't want to go off, but they are going to attempt to make a replacement, but he gets up and plays the ball, puts it underway. Paul Groves attacked in half-back. Connolly still on the field. Ball forward now. Breaks the tackle forward, tries to release, but an extra body comes in and bangs him to the ground. Haggerty now. The Saints faithful get behind them. Mark Bailey tries to duck under the tackle, but Irving grips him. Penalised KR there. Irving and another body there. I don't just know who it is at present. The second row forward, it is Tony Botica. Held had been shouted by referee Morris. Substitution is now being made, and Gary Conley is limping off at right knee. Must have twisted it badly in the tackle. He went down after a tremendous big hit from the Hull KR player. So 24 minutes gone in this first half. Gary Conley being helped off by Saints kickman Jack Meadows there. Hull KR have been penalised for holding the man in the tackle after the held had been shouted. David Cosgrove just ducking under the tackles. Groves at acting half-back. So obviously, as I said, reshuffling the Saints ranks. We're struggling for bodies anyway, and Gary Conley's been taken straight off. Ball forward now, centre field. Groves on to Bailey. Luke movement with holding. Bailey again. Roy Haggerty looking for the gap. Mark Lee come on to replace Gary Conley. Forward into space. Jones on his left. Unlucky there, couldn't release it. Taken on the halfway line, but a good movement there by the Saints. Sixth and final tackle now. Neil Holding, positional kicking. But Rovers gathered it safely. The full back there, David Lightfoot. Brian Niebling. Irvin. Quick out, oh, good clamp tackle from Tanner. Tremendous clamp tackle. And the Hull KR player going into him. It's number 4 there, Greg Austin. Niebling charging upfield. Still the score is 14 points to 2 against the Saints. Tony Botica. Kick upfield now from Bishop. Well, Groves taken off the ball there, no action again. Alan Hunt takes it. Phil Beavers has moved to the full-back position. Alan Hunt will have to stick hold of this ball. Looks very casual in that 25-yard area. But it's Beavers attacking half-back. David Cosgrove. Well, we're struggling again. We had 3 hookers in the team last week. That's David Cosgrove, Paul Groves and Mark Lee. And Mark Lee's had to go on again as an early replacement. So we're struggling again. Just lacking in penetrative players. Well tidied up by Neil Holding there. Saints on the charge. Holding 10 yards short of the halfway line. The tackle count is waved clean. It touched the Hull KR man, so it's Saints on the charge again. Roy Haggerty, centre field, rushes 2 tackles up. Oh, he's looking to release, but clamped there. Groves from acting halfback. Armstrong brings him down. Rovers urged to get back on side by referee Morris. Mark Lee inside ball, but it's down. Saints tidy it up, but a scrum down is going to be formed for the knock-on. Quick hands inside there from the Saints, but it touched the fingertips and went down to the ground. Knock-on being ruled, tidied up. I think it's Paul Loughlin that picked it up at the end, but it's a scrum down. Hull KR feed, and that's Hull KR's first clean heel from the scrum. A loose play. Saints moving up quickly. Jones clamps him. Mark Lee quick in at the action there. Second row forward, Andrew Thompson. They'll take some pulling down, but they're playing with a purpose at KR. I should imagine they will be with 14 points to 2 in the lead. 2 tries caught Saints on the hop there in, 2 tries in about a minute and a half it was from Armstrong and Irving, both converted by Fletcher. Chip through. Beavers takes it well. But he's the lone soldier back in the Saints 25 as the Saints players come back to regroup. Taking the ball up to the 25. Got to try and clear the 25. Not had many chances. Only been down in the KR 25 on one occasion. 12 minutes of normal time remaining. Just a little bit of stoppage time for that injury to Gary Connolly. Uphill battle for Saints. Holding on to Roy Haggerty. Breaks their defence. Slips it out to Tony Kay. Inside ball to Mark Bailey. Laughlin's with him. It's going to be a try. Laughlin going under the sticks. Yes, Saints him back in good style. And who laid the ball on there? No other than Roy Haggerty. Lovely slip ball there. But he was taken up by Mark Bailey. And Paul Laughlin in support. Saints touchdown right under the sticks. Brilliant try from the Saints, and it puts them back in the hunt. This is the rugby that we know the Saints can serve us up here. And they certainly did it there. And they're back in the hunt now. It's going to be 14 points to 8 when Laughlin converts his own try. Paul Laughlin there, he goes over for his 9th try of the season, and with that conversion there, he bangs that between the sticks. That's his 79th goal of the season, puts Saints back in the hunt at just trailing now by 14 points to 8 with 10 minutes of the first half remaining. Brilliant display again. Haggerty, he takes him on. He doesn't look very well built, Roy Haggerty, but he's a strong lad. He certainly can break the tackles off, brush the tackles off. He's due to start a benefit season at the back end of this this Christmas or early in the new year, and a more worthwhile beneficiary you couldn't wish to meet, could you? A local lad. He stayed through and through. He laid the ball on the Mark Bailey and Paul Laughlin finishing off. Alan Hunt. Well, he lost the ball again in the 25. Alex Murphy will be turning his hair out in that dugout. That's another occasion where unfortunately Hunt, he looks so lax in his play, and he's had the ball taken from him, and Bishop there trying to charge for the line. It's KR back on the attack. The Saints just hitting back, and we can ill afford to let Rovers back with another try. Defence will have to be paramount here now. Irvin along the line, Mike Smith, inside ball, Bishop. Well, as I said last week, Derek Fox was running the show at Featherstone, and Bishop here, he's running it here. Somebody will have to whisper in his ear, make these tackles count, put an extra pound in the tackle. Rovers are spreading it out. Look, well, they've lost the ball on the line. The Saints have come up with it. Could have easily been a try for Rovers there. He was allowed to move just a little bit too far. But Farber coming out of defence now into attack. Got an extra pound in this tackle with Bishop, make him know that he's been tackled. But it's Saints in possession in their own 25. A long way to go. Neil Holding trying to thread his way through. Haggerty again. What can he do this time? He's always there looking to release. He has released it this time to Farber. Moving over to the left. Well, Farber's been fouled there. He's taking offence to it, but he'll just have to be restrained, otherwise he'll be in deeper trouble than the Rovers player. I don't know who it was on the far side, but it's going to be a penalty to the Saints. The touch judge there on the far side, coming in to report to Mr. Morris. We're going in rather enthusiastically, but they have been going in enthusiastically all afternoon. They've certainly come in with a purpose, and they're going to stick to it. A tremendous defensive record at OKR this season. They've scored 376 points for. They've only had 78 scored against. Well, the player there giving a free home demonstration of what he says he's done, but whether it'll work with the referee Morris and the touch judge on the far side, well, that certainly looks as though he's been sent off. Sent off from the field of play. A trip. He was trying to say it was like a Cumberland fling, but a trip has been indicated on the touch judges' authority, and Hull KR are down to 12 men. And it's Mike Fletcher that's been, I just couldn't see the player's number, but Fletcher sent off for a trip on Paul Farber on the far side. KR Grubber through, the ball going to find touch, yes. Good positional kick in there after a sloppy kick, with Saints being awarded the penalty when Paul Farber was tripped there. They didn't find touch, Rovers capitalised on it, and with the final punt through on the sixth tackle, fine touch just short of the Saints line. Saints come up with possession, Rovers a man down. They are 14 points to 8 up. They could have easily had another try earlier on. Quick hands from the Saints onto Loughlin. Good ball from Beavers, but solid tackling from Rovers. They'll have to clamp up now. Saints bringing it blindside. Cosgrove breaking through the tackle. Mark Lee coming on his left, he couldn't release it. But Saints will have to capitalise now with a man down. Holding comes through, yes. Oh, I say yes and then I said no. It looked as though he's going to go over the Hull KR man's head. But Rovers are back in possession. They're down to 11 men now. There's an injured player here on our left. So Saints tackling will have to count. Rudd at dummy half. Niebling, the loop movement there. Onto Armstrong, still stood in the tackle. Well clamped at the top by Beavers and Groves after an initial Mark Lee tackle round the legs. Niebling again, he's the pivot, looking to get things underway. The full-back there, Lightfoot up in the action. Lightfoot again at dummy half. On to Irving. Rovers driving for the line, sixth and final tackle. David Bishop, chip and run. Let's come back to Niebling. He's driving up for the line. Is the changeover going to be ruled? Held up over his, well, he's actually got over the line, but he's held up on his back just as well. At least Saints can start with a 25-yard tap. Can they? Is that what's being ruled? I don't know. No, scrum down. Scrum down. Saints feed, Holding to feed. Saints come up with the ball. Holding brings it blindside. Well, he thought about that, but no way through for him. Paul Jones now. Another six tackles for the Saints as it touched a KR player. David Cosgrove running with a lot of purpose there, as is his other prop, Paul Farber. Mark Lee. Saints in possession, just inside their own 25. Paul Groves along the line to Holding. Mark Bailey. Well, loose pass. Tidied up by Tony Kay. Manages to keep in field. Mark Bailey did well there. Tries to clear the line. Been some loose play from the Saints in the 25 and in goal area. But Neil Holding kicks downfield. Lightfoot takes it well. Holding comes in, completes the tackle. David Tanner comes in, but it's KR in possession. 3 minutes of normal time remaining, and Saints are penalised on the left for moving up in an offside position. So a chance for Rovers to get another 2 points on the board if they so wish. They certainly want to get all the points they can, being one man down, but it's the goal kicker that's been sent off. It's Mike Fletcher, and Armstrong, the prop forward. He's been entrusted with the goal kicking duties. He's got the ball in his hand there, just inside the Saints 25. Well, we've just got a minute. If I can give a mention to Bill Bates, the young Bill Bates, who does a lot of work in the programme and what have you. He's a real rugby league enthusiast. He does a bit of plays a bit of amateur rugby, and unfortunately last Saturday he took a nasty injury where he sustained kidney damage and he had to be admitted to hospital for a few days. I don't know whether he is actually out, but I'm sure we'll all wish him a speedy recovery. But Armstrong slots it over, extends the Hull KR lead to 16 points to 8 with just 2 minutes of normal time remaining in this first half. So an 8-point cushion for the Rovers in the first round of this Regal Trophy here at Nosey Road, St Helens. Rovers in possession just outside their own 25. Certainly running hard, but Saints with very limited chances. It's a very sloppy play the ball there, but it's back to David Bishop. Alan Hunt takes it now. Tattle midway between the halfway line and his own 25. Paul Loughlin, international centre, taking up the running. And a very poor crowd here at Nosey Road. I know it's a televised match, but they should have a good crowd. Saints are awarded a penalty for OKR offside. Groves takes it quickly. Saints tidy it up. It's with Haggerty now. Beats one tackle, drives through, feeds it inside to Farber. Tremendous burst from Farber. Saints on the charge now into KR 25. They've got to get points on the board before this half-time whistle. Bailey. Centre field just inside the Rovers 25 now. Holding. Back to Markley, loop movement with Holding again. Beavers, short ball to Jones. Yes, onto Tony Kay. Still going, yes, Tanner, he's over, yes! Tanner's in, and brilliant into passive from the Saints. And it paid off. David Tanner finishing off after it coming through some quick hands there. But brilliant play from the Saints, and they're back in the hunt now. What a time to score, just before half-time. That'll certainly buck Alex Murphy up. Rovers are caught on the hop. Saints spreading it quickly to the right. Tony Kay lofting it over. We thought he'd been tackled, but he lofted it over to David Tanner, and he just fell over the line. His impetus taking him over. David Tanner's third try of the season. What a time to score it just before half-time. If Paul Loughlin's successful, Saints will only be 2 points behind at half-time. Tremendous strike from the Saints there. There's very limited chances in the opposition's 25, but they made it count last time. Loughlin now. No, it's going to fade away to the left. So the score now after 40 minutes play is Saints 12, Hull KR 16. Well, a real pulsating game. Hull KR down to 12 men, with Mike Fletcher being sent off in the 33rd minute of the first half for a trip on Paul Farber. It took the intervening touch judge to bring it to the referee's attention, but after some consultation, as all the Saints faithful hearts skip a beat there as Beavers feeds it to Tony Kay, and he juggled with it a bit. We've certainly been a bit sloppy on numerous occasions in our own 25. David Cosgrove now, bringing it up to the 25. Time running out in this first half. Can Saints go the full length of the pitch? Bailey, Farber, inside ball to Loughlin. He's stretching through him. It's now to Paul Jones. Threading his way through. Saints with the tails up now. Quick play the ball needed. Along the line, Neil Holding. Lofted ball. Well taken there by Haggerty. As loose forward Mike Smith was coming through, he could have easily intercepted it, but Haggerty was brave. He went down, he took it well. He's had the ball taken from him. Hull KR are penalised. It's number 11, Tony Bottiker, penalised for pinching the ball from Roy Haggerty's hands when the referee must have shouted held. Is he going to find touch or bad kick again, but taken by David Lightfoot. Holding comes in, completes the tackle, barely round the top. There's the half-time hooter. It's a pity Saints couldn't have found touch and put on the charge there. But the half-time score here at Nosey Road after a pulsating first half is Saints 12, Hull KR 16. It was in the 10th minute when Hull KR broke the deadlock with an Armstrong try converted by Fletcher. Then only a minute and a half later, Irving went in after some lax play by the Saints, and Saints were up against it there, 12 points to nil down after 11 minutes. Paul Loughlin opened the Saints account with a penalty goal in the 14th minute, 12 points to 2 it was, and then a Fletcher penalty goal gave Rovers the 12-point cushion again. In the 29th minute, Paul Loughlin coming through after some sterling work from the Saints, finishing off under the sticks. He converted his own try, 8 points to 14 I should say. Then Armstrong with a penalty goal just before the half-time hooter. Then right on the half-time, the 40th minute, David Tanner going in for a try. So half-time at Nosey Road, St Helens 12, Hull KR 16. Welcome back to Nosey Road for the second half of this Regal Trophy first round tie. Saints trailing by 16 points to 12. And just before we start, can I just ask you if you're still putting your orders in for your Christmas presents for the Saints New Zealand video and also Saints top tries from last season? Please get your orders in early, because you can't expect to come a week before Christmas and hope to get it for Christmas. They're reasonably priced at £15. Unfortunately, we can't do anything about the commentary on the Saints New Zealand tape. Only Mr. Lindsay from Wigan has organised all this, and he had Keith Macklin doing it for us, and unfortunately he's not as enthusiastic as some of us, is he? But anyway, let's hope you get your orders in, and away we go. And just while we're on about perhaps Mr. Lindsay from Wigan, with Shane Cooper's 8-match ban, which has been upheld, he's still got to suffer out the 8-match ban for a tackle in the Barrow match that was picked up by video. When Barrow had one of our videos, I believe. I don't know who they got it off, but I can assure you they didn't get it off us for one of their players. Well, Bishop there, nearly going in on David Cosgrove. Looked very suspect, the tackle. But Saints spreading it quickly to the right. Harbour stretching upfield, straightening up now. Saints have got a hit back early. Just trailing by 4 points, I beg your pardon. Neil Holding there. Grubbers for touch. Well taken there on the far side by Anthony Sullivan. What I was on about Mr. Lindsay there and this 8-match ban, it seems one rule for one and one for another. If they get it sorted out now, I mean, a Wigan player, Hampson there, he went up for 2 days on the trot, he got sent off. He only got 4 matches altogether. And I know they're clamping down with this 8 matches. Let's just hope they stick to the task, and hopefully it'll not be sending off sufficient when a Wigan player goes up. Well, the referee there, Mr. Morris, conned by the Hull KR man at the back of the pack when Paul Groves allegedly penalised. Well, he was penalised for allegedly infringing at the play of the ball. First penalty in the second half going KR's way. Gary Clark, international wingman for Hull KR. Chris Rodat tacked in half-back. Rovers moving it left, leading by 4 points. Unlucky there, Haggerty went in for the intercept. Got his fingers to it, but it went to ground. The Saints penalised there. Somebody must have said something in the Saints ranks. Ill discipline again in the Saints ranks, and Alex Murphy will have a few words to say about that. No doubt the air will be blue at the half-time team talk. But they come back in good style, Saints, considering we was hit in the 10th and 11th minutes from 2 tries converted by Fletcher for KR, putting Saints trailing by 12 points to 0. But somebody said something there in the centre of the field, 35 yards out, virtually centre field, and a chance for Hull KR to extend the lead to 6 points. Armstrong it is, the prop forward, Slots it right between the sticks. 2 minutes of the second half gone, and Hull Kingston Rovers with a 6 points advantage. Paul Loughlin, centre field, to kick off to restart play. Kicks it deep. Taken by Gary Clark, comes crossfield. Quite a speedy character, and OKR has certainly gone into the depths, haven't they, since he was top in the mid-80s. Saints played him in the Premiership final in '85 when the mighty Mel Meninga was there, and he had 2 interception tries from Meninga, one a rasping 75-yarder where Clark and Laws was trailing in his wake. The Saints come up with the points there, 36 points to 20 I think it was the final score. They've certainly gone into the depths now, they're languishing in the second division. Back to Bishop for the kick downfield, directly into touch. Certainly his kicking has not been too clever this afternoon. Scrum down to reform with the Saints feed. Neil holding there. The ball came out of the Saints second row. Bishop, who didn't retire again, picked it up, but the scrum wasn't formed to the referee's liking. It is this time. Loughlin wrenches up centre field. Unlucky there, just as the ball knocked from his hands as he was into space. Took it well, the Saints moving to crossfield. I don't think it was meant for Loughlin, but he snatched it. He got through the gap, and as the tackle came in, it was shaken from his hands. But Rovers on a break. Good tackle there, Mark Bailey. Armstrong, centre field, Groves in, Farber. Solid tackle, good wrap-around tackle from Farber there. Cosgrove, the initial tackle around the legs. Sixth and final tackle now, Niebling at dummy half. Is Bishop going to get this ball? Goes back to Lightfoot. Hits it through. Alan Hunt stops it with his knees. Gathers it safely. No fancy stuff from Hunt. Diagonal run. Takes the tackle just outside the 25. Mark Lee spreads it right. Paul Jones straightens up centre field. Rovers urged back by referee Morris. Mark Lee, David Cosgrove breaks one tackle. Going blindside, feeds it inside. Always looking to release the ball there, Cosgrove again. Roy Haggerty now. Straightens up, looking for support. Good clamp tackle. Groves. Diagonal run from Loughlin. He's on the charge again. Inside to Farber. Farber up the wing. Well, the ball lost. Rovers keep it going. Niebling now. Unlucky there, right in front of the Saints dugout. Armstrong. Right on the halfway line. Just to the right of the centre spot. Niebling again. Moves it left onto Austin. Ten yards into the Saints half now. David Bishop gives the dummy. But the ball's loose. Saints come up with it. Mark Lee scoops it back to Phil Beavers. Overlap on the left for the Saints. Good ball to Loughlin. Into space. On to Alan Hunt. What can he do with it? Can he win the chase for the line? Hunt going for the line. Can he push the tacklers off? Yes. He's into the corner. Yes, the try's given. The try's given. Hunt's into the corner. Brilliant break from the Saints there. 60-odd yards movement there. As KR lost the ball, middle field, it came back to Beavers. He drove it up to 10 yards short of the halfway line. A pinpoint ball to Paul Loughlin. He fed it on to Alan Hunt into space. He was caught right by the line, but he forced his way over, and he put Saints back just 2 points behind now. Alan Hunt's 10th of the season. Rovers hitting back with an early penalty in the second half, giving them a 6-point cushion. But Hunt going in there, Saints trailing by 16 points to 18. Loughlin is on the right side for the conversion. Let's just hope he can slot it over. Already kicked 2 this afternoon. Brings it to the left, unsuccessful. Unfortunately, Paul Loughlin, he couldn't convert the try, so Saints still trailing by 2 points now. That's Alan Hunt try, put him back in. Quick break there, and some brilliant rugby from the Saints from long distance. Not had many chances in the opposition's quarter. Jones takes it well on the far side. Groves misses out Lee and onto Farber. Good forward, he's playing tremendously. Powerhouse forward. David Cosgrove. Certainly plays above his weight, was Cosgrove, a hooker really, but most of his rugby here at Saints has been in the prop forward. Rovers moving in very quickly. Saints faithful get behind him now. Neil Holding, little Joel, Holding taken down. Taken off the ball there, and the touch judge on the far side has come in very quickly. And, well, just as a token gesture, the near side touch judge on this side, who did come in quickly when Farber was tripped on the far side, just comes on as a token gesture. But it's possibly another Rovers player going down the tunnel, and I hope so, I certainly hope so. But he's took off the ball there, Holding. Is it number 11, Tony Botica, that's been spoken to? Well, he sin-binned him, I think, 10 minutes, yes, the yellow card's there. And he runs over here to the dugout, so Botica receives 10 minutes in the sin bin for an illegal and late tackle on Neil Holding. So Saints awarded a penalty. Rovers down to 11 men, and Saints have got to make it count in these 10 minutes. Groves, Bailey, Groves again. Outrageous dummy from Groves, into space, Loughlin! Onto Hunt, can he go in? Yes, he's in again. Referee points his finger, and Hunt goes in again at the corner. So Saints take the lead in this game for the very first time after 50 minutes play. Well, 51 minutes, I beg your pardon. Now, as you know, it's a televised game, and the BBC are just to the left of us. They've got all the best facilities. I hate to harp on, but it's the same every week. They've got all the best facilities. We are just pushed to one side, even though we have our own very good stand here at Nosey Road. But they've moved far forward. One of the cameras is possibly blocking our position. But Hunt goes in there. Saints take the lead for the first time. And let's just hope Paul Loughlin can slot this one over. Composing himself now. 5 yards in, just outside the 25. That looks better, that's on its way! Yes, right between the sticks! 22 points to 18 now, and Saints are in the lead. The Tony Botica just sent off for 10 minutes for an infringement, and Saints it back in good style. So Rovers making a substitution there with Paul Lyman coming on to replace number 12 Andrew Thompson. Lyman, the ex-Featherstone Rovers player who went to Kingston Rovers with Chris Burton, I think it was, going to Featherstone. But Saints now with the tails up. 22 points to 18, Saints in the lead. First time they've been in the lead in this match. 51 minutes of play gone, and they certainly come back. Showed a lot of character, even though Hull KR are down to 11 men. Beavers, Lachlan again, Hunt again. He'll have to come in field, he does so. He takes the tackle of Brian Niebling, who pushes him to the ground. Sixth and final tackle. Offside on the referee's right. Palmer does it well to Neil Holding. Touches the KR man and goes over to Tony Sullivan. Coming across field. Beavers in and brings him down. Just stick to the task now, the Saints. David Bishop, centre field. He's a tough customer. Pushes Neil Holding off, but it's finally brought to ground. Roy Haggerty and Paul Jones, I think it was, Tony Kay. Rovers. Looked like a hint of obstruction. But it's Rovers on the charge. Niebling gives the dummy. Lightfoot coming through, but he's taken down. Just outside the Saints 25. Chris Rudd. Short ball to Mike Smith. Inside pass to substitute forward Paul Lyman, but he loses possession. Saints are back with the ball in their hands. They're in their own 25. Mark Lee, Tony Kay. David Tanner attacking halfback. Saints spread it to the left. David Cosgrove straightens up. No way through for him. Solid tackling from Kingston Rovers. Mark Bailey gives the dummy. Good dummy from Bailey. Loses the ball in the tackle. Gary Clark tidies up. Chris Rudd. And Rovers in possession just inside the Saints 25 now. Mike Smith. Irvin, centre field, straightening up. Solid tackling again. That's going to be the name of the game. Mark Lee, well, the ball's gone to ground, has it? Saints have got it. I thought Groves, yes, Groves. Well, the man doesn't know what he's doing, Groves. He's got the ball in his hands. That's what Mark Lee was trying to tell him, that Saints have come up with the ball. The man's on the floor. He didn't know what he was doing there. Mr. Morris hadn't got a clue. But he's managed to penalise the Saints. And the Hull KR man receiving treatment. Armstrong's going to have a go for goal. Well, we're certainly handicapped there in the middle this afternoon. There's no danger. In the tackle there as Irving came through. It's Irving that must have took the knock. Groves come up with possession. Mark Lee told him referee was lined up with the Saints. Mark Lee told him that Saints had the possession, but he wasn't interested. He just penalised the Saints because he thought Groves had pinched the ball. Phil Weaver, Saints captain, going having a word with Mr. Morris, just querying it, but he's not interested. He'll come away. He's well not bothering. He's well saving his breath, isn't he? So Armstrong shouldn't have any problem with this. Just to the left of the sticks. 20 yards out. Chance for Rovers to go back, just trailing by 2 points now. Saints in the lead by 22 points to 18. .22 points to 20 to score now, with Armstrong converting that penalty award for an alleged stealing the ball by Paul Groves. Another bum decision in my opinion. Lachlan kicks off deep. Gary Clark takes it on his own try line. Diagonal run. Ten yards into the, just outside, I should say, the Rovers 25. Armstrong taken down on the far side. Niebling along the line. Rovers still down to 11 players. Mike Fletcher sent from the field of play. 33 minutes through the first half. Paul Lyman flicks the ball up. Niebling has it. Farber crunches him to the ground. Another Saints player injured on the centre field. Looks like Mark Bailey. But it's Rovers now. Little chip kick through. Should have been a diagonal chip. Obviously the idea was right. It didn't come off. Greg Austin. Well, Tony Bottiker looking to come back on the field, but are still making a couple of minutes yet. Saints win the hook. Holding feeds it inside to Alan Hunt. Jones. Mark Lee attacked in half-back. Feeds it back inside to Phil Beavers. Lofted ball to Mark Bailey. Just taking a knock, but he looks all right now. Brought down just short of the halfway line. Well, he's back on now, he's Bottiker. I still make it a minute early. Still think he's only done 9 minutes. David Cosgrove. Saw the gap, went for it, ducked under the tackle, just couldn't feed on. Sixth and final tackle now. Phil Beavers. Lost the up and under. All on rule. Well, the referee in the way there. Rovers come up with possession. Irvin from dummy half. Back to their full complement. 12 players on the pitch. Liebling. Big Aussie test forward, well ex-test forward. Coming to the end of his career now, and he's over here in England giving it a swing. Tony Kay intercepts the ball. Driving up to the 25. Not been in the game a lot as Tony Kay. He's had an extended loan period from Barrow, but it sits on the charge. Spreading it along the line, overlap on the left. Quick hand from forward, charge down by the KR man. Another 6 tackles now. Well, he's not wiped the slate clean, but he touched the old KR man. Haggerty bounces off one. Lovely Bolton. Lachlan, yes! Hunting for his hat-trick. Oh, yes! That's it. Lick 'em and stick 'em. Under, brilliant break again, and who's there involved again? Only Roy Haggerty, but lovely backing up from Paul Lachlan. And Alan Hunt on his left. Hunt touches down, nearly behind the sticks, and Lachlan will have no problem popping this one over, will he? Alan Hunt with his 3rd try of the afternoon. A brilliant hat-trick after a poor first half, it must be said, from Hunt. Lost the ball in his own 25 a few times, but he certainly he certainly repaid those errors in the first half with the 3 scintillating tries. 2 close ones in at the corner. He took that one in at the corner, didn't he? But he went behind, nearly behind the sticks. Lachlan pops it over. His 4th of the afternoon. As Saints are in the lead now by 28 points to 20. So Rovers making another substitution now, with Gary Clark coming off and being replaced by number 12, Andrew Thompson. So Saints with an 8-point cushion now. Brilliant play there on the far side. It all come, I suppose, really from Tony Kay. Whether he intercepted it or stole it on the far side, but he went up to the 25. The ball was spread along the line here. It did touch old KR man, but the tackles weren't wiped clean. And then Haggerty took up the running, bobbing and weaving, strode through onto Paul Lachlan and then onto Alan Hunt. Cosgrove, unlucky there. 4-man overlap for the Saints. Cosgrove, he got it away, but Mark Bailey couldn't take it. Irvin into the Saints, well, nearly into the Saints 25. Satlin's going to be the name of the game now. Rovers trailing by 8 points after being at one spell 12 points up. A great test of character for the Saints, even though Rovers were reduced to 12 men without sending off. Certainly A lot of crossing there in the centre field. Chip kick through from Niebling, but it's going to go into touch just short of the corner flag. Scrum down to be formed with a Saints feed. Rovers putting the pressure on, certainly quick, crisp handling. The ball to Niebling, he grubbed diagonally for the corner. It's running to touch. Neil Holding comes up with the ball. David Tanner coming in field. Doing well, Tanner. He's, as I said, both the right centre and the right wing not been really involved as much in the play as Paul Loughlin and Alan Hunt on the left side. 17 minutes of the game remaining. Saints leading by 28 points to 20. Groves flicks a lovely ball up to Loughlin, but he has to take the tackle of Mike Smith. Well, a knock-on being ruled. Whether it did touch Mark Lee or not, I don't know. Unfortunately, Saints making mistakes close to their own 25-yard line. David Bishop to feed. Holding comes round and wraps him up right in front of us here, no problem there. Full-back Lightfoot coming through at pace, but it's Chris Rudd at acting half-back. Inside to Niebling. Awkward ball there to prop forward Armstrong, but he takes it well. Niebling again, Rudd along the line. Mike Smith, got to get in amongst them, the Saints. They've got to make the tackling count. Drop goals are no good to Rovers, but you can bet there'll be a lofted up and under when it comes to the sixth tackle. Niebling again. Bishop. They've got to get into this man, make him feel he's been tackled. Well, there's the upstretched arm for the sixth tackle. Rudd. Armstrong, there's the eye up and under. Well, that's right. The man, he only has to be tackled. It was the sixth tackle. It bounced. Hulky Arman took it. He did release it. A rugby union style. But the sixth tackle was adjudged by referee Morris. Certainly enthusiastic tackling by Armstrong and Niebling there. And the touch judge on this side going on. Phil Beavers there, the captain. He's urging his players to get back on side and not to cause the referee any further displeasure by mouthing. But Saints have been awarded the penalty for Armstrong and Niebling going in there rather aggressively. Groves starts us off. Breaks through the first line of defence. Still has hold of the ball. Wants a quick play of the ball, does Paul Groves. Matt Lee inside to Forber. Still going Forber. Loughlin was coming through for that reverse pass. Well, they're getting a little niggle now with this Rovers outfit. The Robins, as they're known. Roy Haggerty steps out to one tackle. Oh, driving up centre field. Powering his way up. Tremendous 15-20 yard burst from this international Pac-Man. All offside, the Rovers on the referee's right. Groves takes it. Short ball to Loughlin. Loughlin and Hunt again. Loughlin sets it for the corner. Does well, keeps in field. Mark Bailey, a dummy half. Up to Neil Holding. Sees the gap. Stretch it through. Mark Lee. Centre field. Mark Lee, but the ball's loose. Cosgrove. Mark Bailey, must be a try for the Saints. Here's inside to Beavers. Lovely play from the Saints. The Saints moving quickly to the right. Sprint doing wide. The KR defence wide open. Bailey, a lovely inside pass to Beavers coming through on the opposite diagonal. And surely that'll see these Rovers off out of sight for this afternoon's match. Beavers goes in there, lovely reverse pass, well inside, opposite diagonal pass from Mark Bailey. Beavers' 11th try of the season. Alan Hunt now Saints leading try scorer with 12 touchdowns. But a brilliant finish off there from the Saints. Certainly KR, they look a bit of a spent force now. Wouldn't be surprised if Saints don't rattle in quite a few more points before this final hooter. Loughlin there. Does well, stretches it right between the sticks there, stretches the Saints lead to 34 points to 20. So Rovers making another substitution now with Wayne Parker coming on to replace the standoff James Irvine. I think this Wayne Parker, I think he's an ex-Bradford Northern lad. But Rovers are feeling the wrath of the Saints, the mighty Saints, a much depleted Saints side, it must be said, still struggling for bodies here at Nosey Road, plenty of players out injured. But 34 points to 20 now, Saints in the lead. Tony Kay is it Paul Jones on the far side, must have stepped in. Thought he stepped into touch, or just taking my eyes away for the minute, but anyway, it's a scrum down, just inside the Saints 25 with KR feed. Bishop there at the back of the scrum. From the acting half-back, well, typical scrum half. Well, even breaks through the tackles there behind the sticks, but a typical scrum half try. The Rovers spectators here just below us go wild with excitement, and it puts Rovers back in the hunt now. Bishop, as I said, a typical scrum half try from the base of the scrum. Wormed his way through and touches down behind the sticks. It'll be another 6 points for the Rovers. 34 points to the Saints, 26 points to the Rovers when Armstrong kicks this. Slots it over, no problem. So 34 points to 26. A little bit of dismay in the Saints camp there at being caught on the hop from that scrum. But unfortunately another score coming there from a Saints error in the 25. Paul Laughlin to kick off. A chip and run, but Alan Hunt's well up to it. Greg Austin, this Australian centre, thought he'd catch the Saints on the hop. Farber gives the dummy, takes it blindside. Saints will have to settle down, make it count, spread it out, and get more points on the board now. Cosgrove. 10 minutes of normal time remaining, 34 points to 26. In the Saints' favour is the score. Mark Lee. 24th minute substitute for Gary Connolly. He looks though he's got a nasty knee injury, a recurrence of his knee injury. Mark Bailey. Roy Haggerty. Now in possession, releases it to Tony Kay. Bodies on the right. Well, unlucky there. I think if it had gone to David Tanner, he may have been in, but Saints brought down just short. Tanner along the line. Groves gives the dummy, turns back inside, flicks it out. Saints just inches short. Well, is that the sixth tackle? It must be the changeover, the first changeover of the match. Right in the very far corner, the corner of the Eddington and the main stand side here at Nosey Road. Solid tackling from the Saints on the far side. So Rovers in possession, 10 yards away from their own try line. Lyman along the line there, onto Niebling. Paul Jones and Mark Lee, I think he was in the tackle. But you've got to clamp these Rovers, they're always looking to release. Long ball to Lightfoot, the kick downfield. Beavers well positioned, had to take up the full-back role, his natural full-back role with the injury to Gary Connolly. Paul Groves from acting half-back, threading his way through. Up to the 25. Mark Lee attacked in half-back. Ducks under one tattle. Farber coming on the right, but he couldn't release. Groves. Cosgrove pushes off one, drives up centre field, 20 yards from the KR try line. Saints in the lead to 34 points to 26. Haggerty, unlucky though, but it's tidied up by Jones. He does well. Have Saints still got possession? No, Rovers come up with it. I thought Jones had it. Paul Lyman. Rovers, they're still in their own 25, and that's the place that Saints have got to make sure they keep them. 7 minutes of normal time remaining. Armstrong, short ball there, onto substitute back Wayne Parker. Armstrong again, onto Niebling, he turns it inside, onto Lyman. Sixth and final tackle signified. Bishop there, he's going to go for, well, he attempts to kick through, sees the gap, he's on the charge. Diagonal grubber for his wingman, Anthony Sullivan. Tanner will have to tidy up, he does so. Does well, does Dave Tanner. 15 yards from their own line, the Saints are. Nothing fancy. Paul Jones taking up the running, runs up to the 25-yard line. Saints looking to make a substitution down here on the touchline with David Lever. Roy Haggerty. Oh, he's got the ball there in his hands, looking to release. Taking a knock in the tattle there as Roy Haggerty finally gets up. Certainly been a hard slog out there this afternoon in this first round of the Regal Trophy. Cosgrove. LKR outfit urged back on side. Groves again. Farber. Short ball to Bailey. Bailey bursted through. Unlucky there. Hunt on his outside. Couldn't give it him. Hunt comes back. Tidies up very quickly. Groves. But it's Armstrong on the charge. Loose play again from the Saints. Nearly made to pay. Second row, Andrew Thompson at dummy half. Rovers moving it to the left. Into space. 15 yards from the Saints line now. Rovers in possession on the charge. Loose handling again. Puts Rovers back in an attacking position. 4 minutes remaining. 34 points to 26 to score. Niebling. Back now to Lyman. What can he do with it? It's Mike Smith along the line. Niebling again. Austin's with him. Gives it to Austin now. Releases the ball. OKR still showing it. Oh, well taken by Farber. I think it was Mike Smith tried to kick through, but Farber took it well. Yeah, it was Mike Smith. Farber took it well and releases the pressure just a bit for the Saints. Alan Hunt from acting halfback. That's it. Oh, well, Niebling comes in there, the third tackler, and crunches right into Hunt's back. Referee well positioned, but he does nothing about it. Paul Jones sees the gap, stretching up, looking for support. Mark Lee, Loughlin, Tony Kay on the far side. Tony Kay stretching his legs. Got it outpaced his KR defence. Good run from Kay. Limited touches in this game, but he's certainly done well. On the far side. Tanner, inside ball, Beavers along the line. Mark Bailey. Roy Haggerty, somebody will have to straighten up now. Groves, inside to Neil Holding. Back to Roy Haggerty, yes, Haggerty stretching his way through. Oh, lovely ball to Loughlin. Oh, brilliant rugby from the Saints. Loughlin touches down for his second, right under the sticks. The Saints move it over, it's a Tony Kay again. When the last of Hunt's 3 tries, that started with Tony Kay on the far side. He heard 50 yards upfield. Onto the main stand side there, the ball came over, it came to Neil Holding, it looked dead. He flicked it to Roy Haggerty, he stretched through, and who was there on hand? Paul Loughlin again, took the running up and touched down right under the sticks. Well, that certainly will put the nail in the Rovers' coffin this afternoon. 38 points to 26, and just a formality for Loughlin now. Laughlin slots it over. 40 points to the Saints, 26 to Hull KR. 2 minutes of normal time remaining, and David Lever there finally being allowed to get onto the field of play. So David Lever there is prop forward coming on. He's a local lad from the Blackbrook club, making his debut for the Saints. He'd been knocking on the door for first team recognition. Finally allowed to get on the field of play. He's been limbering up on the touchline for quite a while. But that Paul Laughlin try converted by himself. The Saints 40 points to 26 in the lead, just 2 minutes remaining. So Saints in possession, 10 yards short of the halfway line. Neil Holding, Paul Jones. Tony Kay again there on Jones's right. Rovers get back possession. Lyman it is. 7-try performance. 7-try performance for the Saints, 6 goals from Paul Laughlin, and he's missed 2 or 3, hasn't he, this afternoon? I think David Bishop being named as the sponsors man of the match. And Temper's getting a little frayed on the far side there. Is it Paul Farber receiving 10 minutes in the sin bin for an alleged illegal tackle there? Well, he wasn't watching a couple of minutes ago, was he, when Niebling coming on Bailey? But Paul Farber receiving 10 minutes in the sin bin and take no further part in this game this afternoon, but it's well and truly won for the Saints at 40 points to 26. So KR with the penalty into the Saints 25, just a matter of time now before the final hooter is sounded. Niebling. Inside ball to Armstrong. Rovers now on the charge. Lyman. Well, Peter Fox on the telly. He'll probably be telling you how good a player this Lyman is. He's an ex-Featherstone Rovers player. Old Kingston Rovers spread it to the left. Well, putting a chance away. They should have had another try right at the death there with Andrew Thompson. But a good performance from the Saints. The final hoot is gone. Saints go into the second round draw tomorrow of the Regal Trophy. An emphatic 40 points to 26 win. Trailing by 16 points to 12 at half time, and then Rovers come back with an early penalty in the second minute. That made them 18 points to 12, and then it was all Saints. All Saints Day. Try from Hunt in the 7th and 11th minute. The second one converted by Laughlin put Saints in the lead after 11 minutes in the second half for the first time in this game. Then an Armstrong penalty reduced the deficit to 2 points. That was 22-20. And then tries from Hunt, Beavers, both converted by Laughlin within the space of 7 minutes. Gave Saints to 34 points to 20. Then after a sloppy play at the play of the ball after a scrum, Bishop came through for a try from the base of the scrum, converted by Armstrong, 34 points to 26. But then Laughlin there, 3 minutes from time. He went over for a try right in front of the sticks. He converted it. So the final score here at Nosey Road is Saints 40, Hull KR 26. As I said, we go through into the hatch for the next round draw, and hopefully we get a home tie. But anyway, on behalf of the BSN, Broadcast Sport News, your cameraman today, Brian Pears, myself, Ron Hoop, wish you farewell from Nosey Road, and we just see you next Sunday, wherever it may be, home or away, for the second round of the Regal Trophy.